Sometimes, without even knowing it, a little fish spends their whole life trying to be seen. Not for joy, not for fun, but because somewhere deep inside, they believe they must earn attention. They must show enough, do enough, be enough before they are allowed to feel enough. This is the story of a fish who learned that lesson the hard way. Far away from any big city, past the last coral reef anyone remembers by name, there was a beautiful pond. The water was clear and blue. Tiny bubbles rose from the bottom like little stars floating up. Green plants swayed gently back and forth. Sunlight danced on the surface like 1,000 tiny mirrors. Many creatures lived in this pond. There were snails with shiny shells. There were frogs who sang loud songs every evening. There were shrimps who built tiny houses from sand. There were crabs who walked sideways and told funny jokes. There were even little worms who hid under rocks all day. It was an ordinary pond, quiet in the morning, loud by midday, still again at night. The fish ate, rested, played, and moved on. Nothing special about it. But on the biggest rock at the center of the pond, 3 old turtles lived. Their names were Torque, Tark, and Turk. They were very, very old. No one knew how old. Some said 100 years. Some said 500. Some said they were there before the pond itself. These 3 turtles did not swim together with the others. They did not share their food or explain their choices. They simply sat there, high above everything, looking out at the pond as though they owned it. Most creatures believed they did. To be noticed by the turtles. To have them turn their heads and look at you, even for 1 second, was considered the highest honor a creature in that pond could receive. Mothers told their children, "If a turtle looks at you, you will have good luck for 7 years." Fathers said, "Work hard, and maybe one day the turtles will see you." The turtles never said anything. They never smiled. They never waved. They just sat and looked at the far side of the pond. But that did not stop anyone from trying to get their attention. There was a small fish named Finn. He was not the largest fish in the pond. He was not the fastest. His scales were plain and simple. Dark blue on top, silver on the sides. Built more for use than for beauty. But Finn could do something no other fish had ever done. He could swim in beautiful patterns from one end of the pond to the other, without stopping. He could make circles, figure eights, spirals, and even the shape of a flower. He could do this while flipping his tail and blowing tiny bubble hearts. The creatures below would pause whatever they were doing and simply watch. It was a rare gift, honest, alive, completely his own. But Finn did not think about the gift itself. He thought only about who was watching. Every morning he woke before the others. He swam his paths, made his patterns, and then looked up. High above him, the 3 turtles sat on their rock, facing the far side of the pond. They never looked down. Finn told himself, "Not yet. Not enough. Tomorrow." Finn began to change his swimming. He made his patterns faster, sharper, more unusual. Instead of soft circles, he made sharp zigzags. Instead of gentle spirals, he made tight, spinning corkscrews that made him dizzy. He swam closer to the big rock, making long loops through the water, hoping the movement would catch the turtle's eyes. Sometimes other creatures stopped to watch him. A young snail named Sella, who smiled from the mud. A frog named Frumpy, who lifted his head slowly. A small shrimp named Shimmer, who clapped her tiny claws and called out his name. A crab named Coco, who watched from the side with curious eyes. Finn noticed none of them. He was too busy looking up. One afternoon, Coco the crab climbed onto a small rock near Finn. "You are swimming differently, Finn," Coco said. "You used to look like yourself. Now you look like you were trying to be something else." "I am improving," Finn said without stopping. Coco tilted his head. "Improving for who?" "For the turtles," Finn said. "One day they will see me." Coco looked at the 3 turtles sitting motionless on their rock. "They never look at anyone, Finn. My grandfather used to tell me stories about them. He said they have been sitting there for 1,000 years and have never once looked down. They will look at me," Finn said. "I just have to try harder." Coco shook his head sadly and walked away. But Finn did not listen. He swam harder, faster, longer. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Finn grew thinner from the effort. His swimming, once natural and free, now felt practiced, strained even to him. He had changed nearly everything: the speed, the shape, the path of his swimming. He could no longer remember clearly what his original patterns had looked like. His friends began to worry. Sella the snail came to him one day. "Finn, you look tired. Come rest with me near the weeds. I found a new song I want to share with you." "No time," Finn said. "The turtles might look down today." Shimmer the shrimp tried next. "Finn, let's play hide and seek like we used to. Remember how much fun we had?" "No time," Finn said again. "I have to practice," Frumpy the frog called from his lily pad. "Finn, the sunset is beautiful tonight. Come watch it with me." "I can't," Finn said. "I need to swim 1 more hour." Soon his friends stopped asking. They missed him, but they could not reach him. Finn was alone, even though he was surrounded by creatures who loved him. One morning, Finn swam closer to the big rock than ever before. He was so close, he could see the tiny scratches on the turtles' shells. He could see their old, wrinkled necks. He could see their small, dark eyes staring at the far side of the pond. He took a deep breath. Then he began to swim. He made patterns for a long time, long and fast and carefully. Every move chosen, every turn deliberate. He made circles within circles. He made spirals that went up and down. He made the shape of a star. He made the shape of a heart. He even wrote his own name in bubbles. F-I-N-N. The turtles did not move. He swam faster. He made zigzags so sharp they hurt his back. He made corkscrews so tight they made his head spin. He swam until his whole body ached. He swam until his gills burned. He swam until tears mixed with the water around his eyes. The turtles looked at the far side of the pond. Then, finally, one of them turned. It was Torque, the oldest and biggest. He turned his head slowly, without any urgency, and looked directly at Finn. For one sharp, silent moment, their eyes met. Finn stopped breathing. His heart jumped. His whole body froze. This was it. The moment he had waited for. The moment he had sacrificed everything for. But then something happened. Something Finn did not expect. The turtle looked at him the way a stone looks at the wind. Empty. Cold. Without any feeling at all. There was no admiration in those eyes. No respect. No love. Not even curiosity. Just nothing. Then Torque turned back to the far side of the pond. That was all. No nod. No smile. No good job. No, you are special. Nothing. Finn floated there for a long time. He didn't move. He did not blink. He just floated. Then, slowly, he swam to a small rock at the edge of the pond. He sat there without moving. The sun moved across the sky. The pond filled and emptied around him. Fish swam past. Frogs jumped over him. Crabs walked by. But Finn did not see any of them. He felt empty, hollow, like someone had taken everything inside him and thrown it away. "Why?" he whispered to himself. "I tried so hard. I did everything. Why didn't they care?" No one answered. Late in the afternoon, Finn heard something. It was not loud. It was not fancy. It was just soft. It came from the far end of the pond, near the old weeds where fewer creatures went. It was quiet at first, then growing, warm and strange, full of little clicks and pops and gentle hums. It sounded like someone was discovering music rather than performing it. Finn wanted to stay on his rock and feel sad, but something pulled him toward that sound. Something warm, something curious. He swam slowly toward it. He found Sella the snail, the same one who used to smile from the mud. She was sitting beside a small green plant, all alone. Her tiny shell was shining in the evening light, and she was making sounds. Click, click, click. Pop, pop, pop. Click, pop, hum, click. She was singing to herself, not for anyone else, just for herself. She stopped when she saw Finn. Her little face turned shy. "Don't stop," Finn said softly. "I was only making sounds for myself," she said, a little embarrassed. "They are not as beautiful as your swimming patterns." "They are beautiful," Finn said. "Please keep going." Sella looked at him for a moment. Then she closed her eyes and started again. Click, click, pop. Click. And something strange happened. Finn listened. Really listened. For the first time in months, he was not thinking about the turtles. He was not thinking about being seen. He was not thinking about proving himself. He was just listening. And as he listened, he felt something stir inside him. Something he had forgotten. Not pride. Not the hunger for a nod from above. Something much older than that. Something that had nothing to do with being watched. It was joy. Pure, simple, quiet joy. When Sella finished, Finn said, "Your song is good." Sella's eyes grew wide. "No one has ever told me that." "I know," said Finn. "I wasn't listening before." He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, more to himself than to her, "Neither was I." The next morning, Finn woke up before the sun. But this time, he did not look at the big rock. He did not check if the turtles were watching. He did not plan any fancy patterns. He simply swam. He swam the way he used to swim, the way that had come from somewhere real inside him. Soft circles, gentle spirals, simple loops, nothing fancy, nothing sharp, nothing to impress anyone. And as he swam, he opened his mouth and let out a sound. It was not a song, not really. It was more like a feeling, a hum, a bubble, a tiny tune that came from his heart. Sella heard it. She stopped and smiled. Shimmer heard it. She clapped her tiny claws. Frumpy heard it. He lifted his head slowly and kept it lifted. Coco the crab swam nearby. He said nothing. He just watched. But this time his eyes were warm. And above them all, on their big rock, the three turtles sat with their eyes on the far side of the pond, still not looking. But this time, Finn did not notice. For the first time in his life, Finn was swimming for himself. And he was happy. Most of us have stood where Finn stood. We have worked harder, spoken more carefully, changed ourselves quietly and slowly, all to earn a nod from someone who was never really watching. And the painful truth is this: the ones who refuse to see your worth, they do not do it because you haven't proved it enough. They do it because your value was never the point for them. You are trying to fill a space in their attention that was always meant for something else. Every moment spent performing for an audience that does not want to see you, is a moment stolen from the people who already do. Sella heard the music. Shimmer heard it. Coco stayed to watch. Frumpy lifted his head. They were there the whole time, not because Finn earned it, not because he proved it, but because what was real in him was already enough. Worth does not move upward to the ones who sit high and look away. It moves outward quietly to the ones who are already close and already watching. When you stop trying to prove yourself to those who cannot see you, you will finally be seen by those who can. If this story landed somewhere inside you, let it stay there for a moment. Don't rush past it. And if it reminded you of someone, a time you changed yourself for approval that never came, share this story with them. Not as a lesson, just as a quiet hand on the shoulder. If stories like this mean something to you, subscribe and stay close. There are more waiting. Told simply. Meant to reach deep. You don't have to prove you belong here. You already do.